Oh, look at him, boy. Damn. Man, it's kind of hard to watch. Yo, third video in a row. Let's get into it. My boy getting interrogated, and I guess the cop come back and realize that he did. I don't know. It say coke intoxication, so he must have like got arrested and swallowed a bunch of coke. So he don't got. A lot of criminals do that. If y'all don't know, the real stupid ones, they think swallowing the evidence is gonna stop them from getting charged with stuff, but really you just messing your own life up because you take.
This is the never-before-seen case of Harold Easter, a shocking example of police negligence and the only time a suspect has ever died inside of the interrogation room. A man who went from stone cold sober to dying of an overdose, all while in police custody. On January 3rd, 2020, police pulled over Harold Easter after they allegedly witnessed him selling drugs. After Harold stopped his vehicle, the officers immediately rushed the vehicle, weapons drawn, just to see him hiding the evidence in a truly shocking way.
Yeah, I got a German Shepherd next to the pit bull. Y'all want to see?
Put your hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Do it now!
I really think it's German Shepherd next to the pit bull.
Hands up! Open the door for you! Put your hands up right now! Keep them up! Keep your hands up right now! Don't eat it!
Yeah, you heard? He ate it. He ate the coke.
Harold admits to having a little bit of marijuana on him, but obviously doesn't want him to know about the crack cocaine.
Damn! Ooh, yeah, my boy. Yeah, that's definitely why he OD. Look at that. That's like an 8-ball. I don't know nothing about drugs, but I'm just saying, that look like an 8-ball. Nah, that's more than 8. That's a lot. I don't know how much it is, but it's a lot. That's like a... If we talking weed... If we talking cannabis, you know, just hypothetically, they look like that's a little more than a 3.5. That's probably about a 3.5. An 8-ball. That's an 8-ball.
Cocaine he was also carrying, as instead of giving it up, he puts a rock of it in his mouth and swallows it directly in front of the officer. Obviously, this is extremely unsafe. Ingesting any amount of this drug can be dangerous, but in the amounts that Harold just took, it's life-threatening. Officers should have immediately called for medical attention and taken him to a hospital, but instead, they focused on arresting him and bringing him into custody, leaving him to suffer for hours on end.
My boy is super high.
Anything else? Come prove me stupid.
I ain't got nothing.
Leaving all that cash in your pocket.
The officer pats Harold down and finds nothing but a stack of cash on it. However, a search of his vehicle recovers much more.
He was cushioning up part of his crack. He didn't get all of it though, but that's what he was doing while I was fighting for his hands. But we probably got an 8-ball down here. This is gonna be part.
I mean, I don't know nothing about illegal narcotics. I don't. I just assuming that was an 8-ball, but I've never like real shit, like real on some real stuff. Cause I know it's probably I don't want to get yellow marked nothing like that. Don't do drugs, okay? Like real stuff. It's not good for you. Don't touch drugs.
Or the crack he was crushing when I was dealing with him. And here's another bag. Located in front of the driver's seat.
The officers recover about 3.5 grams of crack cocaine and around 1 gram of marijuana.
Yeah, I was spot on. Hold on, I was spot on though. What I say? Look like about a 3.5. I was spot on. I'm just like, I'm good with like approximating the sizes of stuff. Like if y'all don't know, like I'm a professional at like telling you how much like stuff is in the jar. And I just, yeah, that's what that was.
Marijuana from the car, along with the cash found in his pocket. These aren't big-time numbers, and Harold maintained that he wasn't even selling it in the first place. He was just smoking a little with his friend.
I ain't had nothing but to smoke a little rock with, that's all. Smoke me a rock, that's all.
Open your mouth, stick your tongue out.
Well, he ain't smoking crack.
Open your mouth, stick your tongue out. Lift your tongue out. Keep your mouth open.
That's what I tell.
Harold and the officers are both showing perfect conduct, treating each other with respect and staying calm. But remember that the cops know Harold has just swallowed a large amount of crack cocaine, and they seem to be completely ignoring how dangerous this really is.
Stupid.
But instead of worrying about that, the cops just shut him in the patrol vehicle and leave him unattended for over 10 minutes before driving him back to the police station. During this drive, Harold starts to become more talkative and excitable, the first sign that the coke is kicking in. When he arrives at the station, this has only gotten more apparent. Compare how he talks here to his demeanor just a short while earlier during the arrest.
I ain't doing it, just let me pass it on. I can't even let's swing your arms around the steps.
Look at him, he doing this shit right here. Yeah, my boy high.
If I say down, it's gonna hurt. Here. In about 5 minutes, I'll come back and get you. Cause he got something, man. He's out of the middle.
Yeah, my boy, he doing that crazy and shit.
I can tell you straight on. Yes, let me tell you. Your earrings, tongue ring, whatever you got, you got no tongue ring.
It doesn't take an expert to realize that Harold is already very high. He's
boy
talking
high,
way more than before, swaying and bouncing around whenever he gets the chance, and has a distinct lack of care for what's going on. The officer should know that something is up with him, but whether he totally missed the signs or just dismissed it as him being a random junkie from the street, he still failed to alert the medical staff of Harold's condition. Instead, he watched him take his hoodie and shirt off, indicating a high body temperature, and left the interrogation room.
My boy took his blood off and everything.
Say that young guy, damn, you drew on, cause I ain't got no license. All that stuff you know is me driving the motherfucking car.
While the interrogation audio isn't the cleanest, Harold's demeanor and tone tell enough of a story. Right now, he's just feeling the early effects of the huge dose he took. But soon, cocaine toxicity will start to kick in. The footage from this interrogation captures all 4 stages of this process, from where he is now to paranoia and distress, ending with seizures and a loss of consciousness, all without an ounce of medical attention.
Let me get some water, man. Keep trying to reach a stand. I go to jail for trying to realize that nobody's to me the wrong. I take a 12 days.
Harold is starting to get louder and angrier, likely stemming from the first sign of a cocaine overdose known as delirium. Specifically, Harold seems to be experiencing excited delirium, a state that is consistent with hyperactivity, paranoia, rising body temperature.
Because he took rock. Most of y'all probably know, but rock is the more concentrated form of cocaine. So it's like extra strong, and he took a bunch of it. Why you swallow that shit? Bro, they was gonna catch it.
The anger may also come from the fact that since he was arrested, he's told officers he's needed to drink water and use the bathroom,
he
but
didn't say
hasn't
that
been
like
given access to either. In response to this, he yells and asks them if they're gonna let him die there. A horrifying statement that will soon prove to be more significant than he could have ever realized.
And it ain't hot in the jail, bruh. It ain't hot. It's cold. I ain't never been in jail, but just from people telling me, I know it's cold as hell in jail. It ain't hot. It ain't never hot in jail. So yeah, he high. My boy high. It ain't never hot in jail. You didn't see interrogation videos doing this and putting their hand in their shirt. And y'all should know, if he said he hot, y'all know it's below 68. They probably keep it. You know your grandmama house be cold. They keep it below 68 in that mud. So that's the first indicator that something ain't right. Don't nobody say they hot in jail.
this morning, man. That's all I'm saying. I ain't trying to just, you know, get out the beer. You know, want some water. I'm going to take a little.
So fat. Brendan, you're not
If he had some water, it might have helped flush it out. It's not really.
Look at Nate.
I don't know if water helped flush it out your system, but it probably would have helped you. You never know.
Finally, an officer returns and asks if he needs water. 4 minutes later, he brings some in, but his actions afterwards are extremely telling.
Yeah, it's real shit. It's real shit. But it's all ready. We ain't ready. We should spare me. Cause man, I really guns in the face. So got trying to leave my ass. Y'all know what we do is we try to, you know, I ain't got no guns or goddamn hands.
He not even pronouncing his words correctly, man.
After giving him the water, the officer just asks why he's yelling so much before immediately backing out of the room while Harold is still talking. It's almost as though the officer feels scared or threatened by Harold, amplified by the fact that he refuses to turn his back to him at any point. The cop wants to keep him in his vision so he can feel safe. It's now apparent what the cops are actually doing. It seems as though they think the dosage that Harold took is safe and are just waiting for it to wear off before they begin questioning and processing him. Given that the arresting officer
but crack don't wear off that fast though. It ain't like weed. You smoke some weed, it's like, you know, 3 hours. You high on some crack, you gonna be high for a little minute. So how long they was supposed to have dudes sitting in that room?
Size of the rock that Harold swallowed, it should have been obvious that it wasn't a safe dosage.
You know
they only realized when it was already too late.
Damn, look, he's seizing up. Look, he's seizing up. Damn.
Harold is starting to shake in what are known as pre-convulsive moments. He knows something is wrong, but due to how intoxicated he is, he won't be able to understand what's happening or that he desperately needs help. This is the first stage of cocaine intoxication. His blood pressure will be rising dramatically, his thoughts will become clouded, and he may start to experience hyperthermia, along with the obvious twitching and convulsive motions that are visible.
He can't even do nothing about it.
This stage confirms that the substance has essentially poisoned his bloodstream, and even if medics were called now, there is very little they'd be able to do to stop what's to come.
They can't give him no Narcan, nothing like that. Oh, look at him, boy. Damn. Hey, it's kind of hard to watch. Oh, he's seizing up for real.
Harold has just had a seizure, the second stage of cocaine toxicity. His entire body began heavily convulsing, he lost control of his muscles, and his body likely started sending less oxygen to his brain and other vital organs. His heart is probably even starting to beat irregularly and skip beats. His body is starting to completely shut down. Harold then spends 2 minutes lying motionless on the table before falling to the ground, having multiple more seizures, each more aggressive than the last. Harold spent almost 10 minutes in this stage of stage 3 cocaine toxicity before an officer finally checked on him, vomiting, hyperventilating, and convulsing the entire time.
Man, y'all that's messed up, man.
Harold Easter was rushed to the hospital where he died 3 days later, leaving behind his wife and children. Following the incident, an investigation was opened against the 5 cops involved in the arrest, who subsequently resigned from the force. No legal action was taken against any of them. However, changes were made to the CMPD's policy following Harold's death. Officers are now required to constantly monitor any suspect in their custody instead of just every 15 minutes. And officers must immediately call a medic if they believe a suspect has swallowed it.
I wish I would have had this when I was still working the road. This is a flexible...
That messed up because he could have, you know, at the end of the day, No matter what somebody do, don't nobody deserve to die like that in that way. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me not say. It's not my place to decide whether somebody's supposed to die or not. What I'm trying to say is, although he was selling crack, you know what I'm saying, he didn't deserve to die. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he deserved to die. Not like that. It was a stupid decision that he made on his own, and consequently, it cost him his life. But at the end of the day, yeah, they should have been more aware. I'm not saying the officers was in the wrong either, but at the same time, they should have been. You an officer, you should know when somebody is under duress or when they need help, when they showing signs of physical or mental illness. You should know this stuff. So they're at fault at the same just as much as he is at fault for swallowing the crack at his own knowledge. He know what crack. You sell crack, so you know what crack
should have done. Shown when Xavier Franklin
this is
suddenly
unfortunate
fell
at the
ill
end
in
of the
custody.
What would you like us to do for you today?
Just weeks ago from today, Franklin was brought into police custody after being arrested for outstanding warrants during a traffic stop.
Step up for me real quick. Let's go put you in handcuffs. You're detained right now. No big deal.
He did the same thing, but they caught it in time, look like.
Franklin is taken to the police station to be interviewed about his warrants. But before they could even start questioning, he starts to get extremely sick.
There goes tissue, okay? You're right back.
In contrast to the CMPD, these Dallas officers immediately noticed that Franklin was in medical distress and brought him towels and a trash can to help clean things up. The officers also routinely check on him to make sure he's fine, but as it turns out, things couldn't be further from fine.
Everything okay? I'm gonna take your hat real quick. Okay. You okay?
No,
What's wrong?
I just thought I was blood.
From what?
Huh?
From what?
I just have a withdrawal. I'm a recovered alcoholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, I think they got an ambulance coming, okay? Hang in there.
The officers tell him that an ambulance is on its way, and just minutes later, it arrives.
What's going on with you, man? What kind of medical problems you got? Pancreatitis. What would you like us to do for you today? I already went to the hospital. So you already been? I saw you yesterday. You ready to go to the hospital?
As the medics take him to the hospital, you can see just how weak Franklin looks as he struggles to leave the room. Unfortunately, despite the police and medics' best efforts, Franklin died at around 9 p.m. that evening. As of this video's upload, an autopsy is currently being carried out to determine his true cause of death, and the incident is still under investigation. If you enjoy true crime videos like this...
Yeah. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. That was a good little story. It was unfortunate, but it was still good. Moral of the story is don't do drugs. If you get caught with some drugs, don't be stupid and try to swallow the shit. Just get arrested for it. You know what I'm saying?